Welcome to Brilliantly British. My name is Lawrence and today I'm going to show you how to make another great Glaswegian curry. I'm talking about a chicken chasni. So, as I show you how to make it, sit back, relax and enjoy this episode. Chicken chasni. The sweet and sour curry with refreshing mint and the twang of fresh coriander. A curry apparently for those that don't like curry. And yes, I know exactly what you're thinking. This was conceived like the more famous Tikka Masala in Glasgow, Scotland, to cater for the British palate. Out of all British curries, chasni is by far the most unmistakable as it calls for the use of mango chutney and ketchup. In this episode, you'll learn how to easily make this unique sauce with textured rice, so allow me to list the ingredients. For today's Brilliantly British chicken chasni, you will need a whole chicken, some tomato chutney, mango chutney, heavy cream, some fresh tomatoes or canned tomatoes. It is up to you. You will need also some cloves of garlic, a whole onion, some ginger, chili if you're feeling brave, some cumin, smoked paprika, turmeric, fresh coriander, fresh mint, a whole lime or two, and to go with your curry, you will need some wild rice and some basmati rice. But guys, look, on screen now, you also see another vital ingredient for this dish. It is homemade Brilliantly British chicken stock. If you don't have some in your fridge or your cupboard, guys, don't panic. Follow the link up there after you've watched this episode, of course, so that you learn how to make it from scratch. You will also need, finally, some salt and some pepper to avoid the god-awful occurrence of bland food. And that's it for the ingredients of the chasni, that is. What you will also need to do to stay hydrated whilst you cook is make yourself a nice cup of hot tea. For best results when making any curry, I've said this before in the other curry making episodes, you want to ideally start off with a paste, a homemade paste. This way your curry will be rich in flavor, complex, etc., etc. So with that being said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to grind my spices here fresh in this pestle and mortar, ready for the next step. Into my blender to form our paste, I'll now add in some ginger, followed by some chilies, and then in as immature a way as possible. As you can see, I'll then throw a few cloves of garlic in too, before adding in a chopped tomato, a chopped onion, the zest of a lime, the juice of a lime, and then finally the spices that we ground earlier. And then a generous glug of oil before blending all of these ingredients together to form our rich, flavoursome paste. With the paste made, the last thing to add to it is a pinch of salt to taste. Off camera, I've gone ahead and butchered the chicken, yielding this bowl of meat here. In the other hand, as you can see, I have also got a bowl of chicken bones, which of course, knowing me, will not be wasted. It will be used to perpetuate the presence of chicken stock in my fridge, in my cupboard. That is why I go to the trouble every time of buying a whole chicken instead of chicken pieces from the shop. Finally, to our bowl of chicken, we're going to pour in that deliciously aromatic paste that we've made so that overnight our chicken absorbs all of those flavors. So with that being done, I'll then put the chicken in the fridge to marinate overnight and I'll see you soon. Just like our Tikka Masala curry episode, an episode I highly recommend watching after this one, you should start by cooking your rice. Start with the wild rice as it needs a head start. Cook the wild rice covered over a medium-low heat in roughly 2 centimeters of water for 10 minutes. In the meantime, heat up a large oiled pan over a high heat. In the pan, we'll sear our marinated chicken for flavor and color. Once the pan is smoking hot, sear your chicken on both sides, taking care not to overcrowd the pan. On contact, the aromas, that are released are nothing short of amazing, really. But without getting carried away, in parallel, I'll now add my basmati rice and a pinch of salt to the wild rice, turning the heat down to a low level before stirring and adding enough water to submerge the rice by about a centimeter. At this point, cook the rice covered over a very, very low heat. Now back to the chicken, with an eye on the rice. Place the seared pieces in a bowl and repeat the process until all of the chicken has been seared. By the way, don't worry too much at this point if the chicken is still raw in the middle. It will have the opportunity to cook later on. As you can see, because I had an eye on the rice, I was able to avoid the pot from boiling over. A lesson, of course, to always keep an eye on the rice. The searing left my pan in a bit of a state, so before I continue, I'll strain any residual oil into my bowl of residual chicken marinade. You should then discard those flakes of carbon, then take the time to clean a little before adding chopped onions to the bowl. We never waste any flavor here. Aromatic oil, marinade, onions equals deliciousness, my friends. Placing my pan back over the heat, relocate the contents into your pan and fry whilst covered over a medium heat for a few minutes until the onions become translucent. Use this time, of course, to blend your tomatoes. As the onions and spices continue to fry, I'll add a pinch of salt to season as well as to draw out some moisture from the onions for sweetness. Once the onions have softened, add in some of that beautiful chicken elixir, followed by your blended tomatoes and your chicken, which led to the exchanging of pans. You'll be relieved to know that you'll have some free time on your hands, as you'll need to now allow the sauce to simmer over a medium-high heat until it thickens. In the meantime, check on your rice. If it's dry and fluffy, whilst covered, remove it from the heat to stand for later on. Once the chasni has thickened, switch off the heat, season to taste with salt, also adding a mango chutney. Now, the original recipe calls for ketchup, but I thought, why not shamelessly promote something better? So stir in some Brilliantly British tomato chutney for good measure. And now, to finish this curry, generously sprinkle fresh coriander and mint, rounding off with a generous helping of cream. Beautiful. Now, did anyone say, tasting, tasting, tasting? All right, guys, let's do this. Let's give you the verdict and tell you how good, how amazing, how great. I'll stop describing this thing and actually eat it now. I need a fork. Hoo hoo hoo. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. My taste buds have decided, have absorbed all of the flavors. And guys, what I have to confess is that this is one of the most distinct curries that exists, period. At least in my opinion. It's sweet, sour. You've got the parsley, the cool, refreshing mint. The chicken is nice and tender. It's creamy, there's cream in there. Oh, and the fruitiness of the tomato comes through as well. Rice with a curry, of course, is a given. It's delicious. But, of course, as I said, Staffordshire oatcakes exist, and so I will also try it with an oatcake, and it is also delicious, unsurprisingly. But remembering the fact that I promised to do a mini tasting session for the mixed vegetable chutney, here it is. I'm going to tell you how deliciously rich this is. Okay, that is my favorite chutney. Wow, you've got so much flavor going there with all of the spices. Oh, wow. Guys, you have to make this. And when you do make it, promise me you'll make it in bulk, because honestly, it'll go so quickly if you make it in small portions. That's it. Thank you all so much for allowing me to show you how to make this great British curry, a chicken chasni. Knowing that you like this episode, don't forget to click on the like button, subscribe to this channel, clicking the notification button so that you don't miss any of our new releases. Tell everyone you know about the Brilliantly British food on this channel. We have to spread the message about Brilliantly British food, people. And I will see you next time. as you subscribe to this channel, not also what, forget.